let me pull up a blank sheet and we can go through the profit plan. So let me just share my screen with you guys. Let's do that now. And here we go. Let's just work out, because I am on 2 screens, so I just need to work out which one I am sharing. So we basically start with a blank page. Now, how we want to start looking at our profit plan is we want to start building out what we would call our business as usual. So I just usually call this sheet BAU, business as usual. We want one tab, which is business as usual. And in this tab, we would have the months across the top, all the way out, so that we have all the months. Let's just pop those in there, and we should be able to pull this across, hopefully. Oh, no, it's repeated itself. 1 second here. So we're going to pull these all the way over, January, February, March. That should pull us out to December, and then we're going to get 12 months. Now, you can start this at any point in the month, any point in the year that you want. So, you know, we are now in what, June? So you could start this July, August, September, and just pull it out for 12 months. That's completely fine too. That is not a problem. And then you want to have your income. Oh gosh, when I'm typing fast on the screen, I can't spell. And then you're going to have kind of source 1, source 2. You're going to have your expenditure. And then here, you're going to actually list your expenditure by actual supplier name. So it might be that you have, you know, ClickFunnels. It might be that you have Zoom, you have G Suite, etc. Okay, so you want to actually list those by the actual supplier name. And this is basically you doing how the business currently operates, okay? How it currently works, what that looks like. Now, it might be that you have each month would be the same because you have a recurring revenue source and the costs are the same month on month. However, if you have a seasonal business, you might want to fluctuate some things seasonally in terms of the income of how it works. So this is kind of how it is now, or how it's been over the last 12 months. That's your business as usual. So, you know, if you do no marketing, if nothing changes, this is what the business will do over the next 12-month period, because this is the state it is now, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to have numbers in the boxes for kind of what each of these amounts are. Let me just format this for numbers. And I usually like to center things to make it look a bit prettier. So we might say that's something like this. And then we might have, you know, we might have really seasonal, so that we have like launches or stuff that usually happens in February, March. And we might have, you know, another launch phase, let's say in June or July and August. So we could have, you know, we could have numbers all over the place. And let's say source 2 is a recurring revenue stream, for example. So what we then want to do is we want to have our total revenue added together in one of our lines. And then in the 12 months, we want to summarize as well. So we get a clear picture of actually what this business looks like. So there we go. There is our income as currently is, okay? This is not what you want to be. This is not how you want it to be. This is as is. Does that make sense for everyone? Please let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Please give me a yes, so that I know that I am not speaking crazy and I am not losing you. So please give me a yes in the comments. And we're going to do exactly the same for the suppliers. So we're going to pop in the amounts here, whatever those may be. I'm just making them up at the moment, on a monthly basis. And then we want the sum of the expenditure as well, whatever that looks like for you. Makes sense. Great. Yes. Okay, awesome. I'm glad it makes sense to you guys. So we want to put those expenses in as they currently are. We might have some team in here as well. So we have team member 1, team member 2, team member 3. And let's say we are putting in their salaries and putting that in, and then all these expenses, these are flat throughout the whole time period, so we'll pop those in there. Okay, so that gives us a starting point. We then want at the bottom, we want our profit. Now this is going to be before tax and before owner's pay, before the amount you pay yourself. So we want to do the income less the expenditure. What does that look like in our business? I just need to alter this actually to pull it down to include all the rows I just added in to make sure that we've got all those in there. And then we've got profit before tax and owner's pay. Now we can see that this business is, it's a little bit seasonal because we have those launches. So some months we're negative and some months we are positive. So we've got this business, and this business overall we can see is profitable, but we can see that it goes, it goes a little bit around the place. So what we then want to do is we say, okay, this is our business as usual. This is what our business is doing right now. And then we're going to put our tax amounts in. Incidentally, for those of you that are in the UK, for those of you that are in Europe or any other country that has sales tax or VAT or any equivalent of that, these numbers that we work on here are all excluding VAT. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the corner so you know these numbers are all excluding VAT. In the tax line, that's corporation tax, that's your company tax, and you're going to want to put that in. Whenever you pay that, we'll pop in the amount that you've done. Remember, these are actuals. This is based on business as usual. What has happened over the last 12 months? What can you reasonably say that if nothing changes, if you do no marketing, if nothing else changes in the business, this is what the next 12 months will look like. Okay, and then you want to take out your own pay. Let's say you are taking out 2,000 a month. That is not the right number. Let me just, there we go. Okay. Sum this up. There we go. Lovely. And then we get our bottom line profit, which is basically the amount left over here. So we want to do our profit before tax, less our tax amount, less our owner's pay. And this gives what we've actually done in the year. Okay, so this is our business as usual. This is us saying, okay, nothing else changes in the business. We are not doing anything funky here. We are just operating as we currently are. This is what would happen in our business. Okay, this is what it would look like. So this is the first iteration of how we build out our profit plan. This is what we need to start with. And once we've got this where we go, yes, okay, that makes sense, then we need to move to saying, okay, what does our profit model then begin to look like? Because we're going to say, okay, we don't necessarily want to do exactly what we did last year. We might, or exactly what we could do right now. We have a growth strategy, or we are, we are wanting to make more profit. Therefore, we need to realign some of the things we're doing now because we're not happy with the performance of the business currently. We don't want it to stay like this forever. So we start by this business as usual model, and what we do is we're going to copy this in its entirety. So I'm just going to Control C and Control V this into the profit model tab that I've just created. So what we now do then is we say, okay, what expenses do we need to look at first off to make sure that this business is as profitable as it can be and it delivers us more money? So I am sure that some of you probably heard me speak about the 2 exercises that I love to do both in my own business and with clients as well. And that is basically examining the expenses and asking 2 questions. So one, is it 100% necessary to keep the lights on in the business? My business cannot operate without it. And therefore, it is necessary. This is things like insurance. That's the kind of thing that I'm speaking about with these. And the second type of expense, the second classification is this delivering me a positive ROI, a positive return on my investment, either in terms of money or in terms of time? And if your expense can answer one of those two questions as a yes, then it's a positive thing in your business. However, if you can't answer yes to either of those, then it is a nice to have, and nice to haves erode profit. They are money leaks. And yes, you might be doing them for a number of reasons, but those are the types of expenses that we need to be really, really clear on whether they're actually needed. Okay, so what we do first off is we say, okay, see this line here, perhaps we don't really actually need that in our business. That supplier, that's just a nice to have. It's not really giving me an ROI, and it might be the same with this one. So we say, okay, we've examined our suppliers, and we say, okay, we've now analyzed those, and we said, we know that those are not necessarily needed, so let's take them out the profit model. They are not needed in the profit model, so they can go. The hard bit then with the expenses as well is to then say, okay, team members. We need to be really, really honest with ourselves about which team members are performing and which aren't. Ideally, you want your team members to be delivering you at least double their salary in terms of the revenue or time creation that they generate from you. If they're not, then there is a problem. That problem, and that is way too much for me to go into in this training, but I will cover that in another training as well, in terms of getting the most out of your team and making sure your team are highly, highly profitable in your business, because that also helps deliver to the bottom line. But let's just say we've already done that team exercise and that teamwork, and we know that actually team member number 2, things are not so good with them. They've got a 3-month notice period, however, so we can't take them out completely, but we can take them out after 3 months, and we say, okay, we're going to get rid of that person. We're going to do that in our business. That's us looked at the expenditure on the profit model, okay? And of course, you would dig into each of these lines individually, and you may have to spend some time thinking about that and working it through, but that is what it is. Does that make sense to everybody? Can you let me know, guys, if that in the comments, if that makes sense in terms of the expenditure and looking at the expenditure? Step 1 of the profit model. Well, step 1 is copying the business as usual model. Step 2 is adjusting the expenditure to get really clear on making sure that our expenses are either 100% necessary to keep the lights on, or delivering us a positive return. The next part is the part that most business owners focus on the most. They usually don't do this beginning piece, and that is revenue growth. Okay, because most of us, me included, love the sexiness of revenue growth. Okay, I'm going to grow my business. That means I want to, have year-on-year, month-on-month increase in revenue growth. And that is important as we're growing a business, but these other pieces are really important too at the same time. So what we need to do then is we need to build out a revenue plan. What does our business actually want? What do we want in terms of revenue? Now, I want you to be really to kind of think bigger here, because you see, when we build a business and we're offering our services or our products, we can often just go along doing that, and that's great. But what I see often is business owners getting to the £1 million or the £2 million revenue mark and going, oh crap, this is not the business I wanted. This is actually not how I wanted my day to look. This is not the types of work that I wanted to be doing during my day. This is not the types of products and services I wanted to be offering. So no matter what stage you are in business, it's okay to reevaluate what you are offering the market. Even if you have a £1 million revenue stream, it is okay to reevaluate if that is bringing you happiness, if that is bringing you joy, if that is something that you can actually truly see in your vision for what you want your life to look like. Does that revenue stream fit in, or doesn't it? And this is a really important part of looking at this profit model, because we're not only speaking about delivering to the bottom line here, we're actually speaking about our business delivering our vision and delivering what we want for our lives. And that is a massive, massively important piece. So when you think about your current revenue streams, do you enjoy delivering them? And it may be that the answer is no, but you have a team delivering them, so that's not necessarily a problem, as long as you are able to support the delivery team in the delivery. but are you actually happy with the revenue streams that you currently have? And more importantly, the revenue streams you currently have, are they actually able to deliver you the overall revenue that you want in your business? So let's say, for example, that you do a lot of one-to-one client work just now. And let's say that you work out that you want a business that's 5 million revenue. But you look at the numbers and you go, okay, so that means I'm going to have to be serving 750 one-to-one clients a month. That just isn't going to stack up. So you need to be really clear on the pricing, the number of people you want in your different services and programs, and what that looks like to you both now and at your version of success, the end goal, whatever that is for you. So when we're looking at the revenue plan piece here, I want you to be really, really clear on thinking around these matrix, because it might be that you go, you know what? I just blinking hate launching. So despite the fact that this revenue source is delivering me the vast majority, 80% of my revenue, actually this needs to be changed up. We might say I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to actually change this to evergreen. So we might say, okay, let's do this this first launch here, and let's take this one out, and I'm going to work on it for the next however many months, and then I'm going to change it to an evergreen program, which is going to then, I'm going to be able to release to the market in, let's say, May, and I'm going to sell 3,000 of them a month, and I'm going to work it through that way. And let's just make sure these columns are adding up. There we go. So we might be that temporarily there's a drop in revenue, but actually you're getting your business to a place where you need it to be and you want it to be for future growth. That is incredibly important as you're building out your revenue plan. Really being clear on the vision you have. I worked with a client recently. She has a over £1 million business, and she realized that she does not like what she is doing on the day-to-day. And she is actively going through a process of completely changing up her offerings because she is just not enjoying it. I work with somebody else actually who did this piece actually before she came on board with me, but again had a multiple six-figure revenue business and basically blew it up and started again because she hated the direction it was taking her. She came to me just after she'd blown it up and started again, so I didn't see that process, but I know she went through it from the discussions that we've had because she just wasn't in alignment with what she wanted for her life. And that's incredibly, incredibly important when we're looking at this revenue piece, not just going, oh, okay, I can get 10 more clients here and I can get 5 more people here and I'll get some people to buy my course over here. It's actually, is this the build that you want? Now, whilst we're on this, I want to say that I am a really firm believer that you should concentrate on as few revenue sources in your business as you can until you really nail and master those before introducing other sources. I see way too many business owners come to me and predominantly it's them running their business. Now they have team, but they don't have any leadership team. So they have, they might have a few VAs, they may have a marketing intern, they may have some operational people, but fundamentally it's them running their business. And they have a ton of revenue streams and they are not able to focus on one, and therefore all of them are performing, in all honesty, pretty poorly. And if they focused on one, they could get one, nail it, make it amazing, get it generating great revenue, get systems and processes in place so that it's working, and then they could go on to building the next one. And that is by far the stronger thing to do, to actually make sure that you get one revenue stream. I say to people, I think it should be at least 100K a year revenue stream before you think about introducing another one, and then that one gets to 100K before you think about introducing a third, because you need to be able to understand and nail the first stream, systemize it, and get it to a place where somebody else can help you run that revenue stream before you can actually free up any time, or should free up any time, to focus on the next one. So that's what I recommend in terms of revenue plans. We've built out our revenue plan. We understand actually now what we want from our revenue. We've built out our expenses. And then the plan here is to say, okay, what about our first of all, our tax? We need to make sure that that's working for us. So what I say to people is to set up your formula. And this is a bit of funky Excel here, but what you can do is you can set up something called an if statement, which basically says that if one cell is greater than 0, then times that cell by 20%, otherwise put 0. And that's what I'm putting in this cell. If that is just too much crazy Excel talk for you, let me know, and again, I can pop it in the comments how to do that, so that you can if you're doing this yourself and building it out, then you can do that successfully. So then we want to say, okay, with our new model, what does our owner's pay need to be? What can it be so that we can consistently pay ourselves on a monthly basis? So what I do is I would take out that owner's pay amount. I would look and I would say, okay, what's the bottom line currently? Okay, it's currently 13,000. So under this model, in all honesty, we're not looking at paying a huge amount to ourselves. We're looking at about £1,000 a month, and then we have some profit left over. When we get to here, what I like to do is I like to say, okay, a lot of you know that I'm a big Profit First fan. I am certified Profit First professional. And I like to make sure that once we get here, that actually our percentages are starting to line up with what they might be under Profit First. So what we want to do here is I usually put in Profit First percentages, and then we go, okay, profit, owner's pay, tax, and operating expenditure. I've just written that to OPEX, and we say, okay, what is this looking like? We're going to take our profit and divided by our income. We are going to take our owner's pay over our revenue again. We are going to take that tax amount. And you can see that this business, as we know, is quite lumpy with its revenue. It's not flat revenue every month, which means that some months we have at the moment covering costs and other months we don't. So when we're looking at our overall percentages, things can look a little bit crazy. And you might have this some months in your business. See, that looks just insane. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull that out and say, okay, over the year, since we've got weird, crazy, lumpy stuff going on, over the year, what does that look like? Is that anywhere near what we want under Profit First? And for this business, with the size of it, we are looking at 5% for profit. We're looking at 50% for owner's pay, 15% for tax. 15% for tax, and 30 for operating expenses. So you can see at the moment that this business is a little bit off where we would want it to be. So we go back and review everything. We make sure that we're happy with everything. We make sure particularly that we review the expenditure and what that looks like, and we look at the revenue growth as well. Now, there is another piece to this puzzle, which we haven't spoken about at all, but can be really relevant for people, and that is debt. If your business currently is running debt, or if you have debt that you are paying off personally, that you basically need the business to fund because you got it as a result of running the business, then I actually want you to add this into the expenditure. I want you to add the debt repayments into the expenditure, because your debt repayments are basically you paying for past expenses, okay? So in this model, when we're working out profitability, we're working out our take home, and we're working out our percentages, we need to add our debt repayments in. So let's say we've got debt repayments of £200 a month. We need to add those in there, and of course that is going to somewhat alter our percentage allocations. When we do that, we also want to make sure that the bottom line over the year is still positive. Otherwise, some things need to change in there too. So that is then what our profit model would look like. And then we want to go and on a month-by-month basis, we want to be tracking how we are doing on our profit model against how we are doing on our actuals. We know that each month this income and these sources, these are our targets that we can then set ourselves. These are our KPIs that we can then challenge ourselves to hit. But remember, the expenditure is also a KPI that you want to be hitting, okay? So you want to be keeping your expenses in line and your revenue goals being hit. It's really important to get both so that you can deliver the money that you need and want to yourself. I hope that makes sense to everybody, that run through of how to build out a profit plan from basically starting with a blank sheet, looking at, okay, what is the business as usual look like? Then going on to, okay, what do we want to do for the expenditure? How can we make sure those are in line? How can we make sure that we are either only spending on stuff that keeps the lights on or delivers us a positive return on investment? Then how do we build out that revenue? Is that in alignment with our vision? Is that actually where we want our business to go or not? Making sure that that all adds up. Then looking at those profit first percentages, okay, where are we on those? Are we getting closer to our goal? Are we getting to where we want to be? And then layering in, hang on, if we've got debt repayment, we need to be figuring that out too. We need to be adding in that and we need to be taking into account of that. That is how you build a profit plan. Any questions, please do let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope that this has been super helpful for everybody. Any questions, let me know. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you so much for it. And I will see you guys in the group incredibly soon. It was lovely to see you all today. And I will see you guys again really very soon. Take care.